Hi there, welcome to today's program. My name is Dr. Jesse McLean, the Wine Doctor, Doctorate of Nursing Practice, and French Wine Scholar. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wine Education. Today's program, we will be discussing the wines of Alsace. Alsace is a region in France which is located in the northeast, just north of Switzerland and west of Baden, Germany. The capital city in Alsace is Strasbourg, which is located in the northern part of the region. Now within Alsace, there are two sub-regions, the Haut-Rhône or the Upper Rhine, which is a higher elevation but located in the southern part of the region, and the Bas-Rhône, which is a lower elevation located in the northern part of the region. So don't get confused. Upper Rhine or Haut-Rhine is in the south and Bas-Rhine is in the north. Most vineyards, most AOC vineyards, are actually located in the south or in the Haut-Rhine. As I mentioned before, Alsace is located just north of Switzerland and west of Baden, Germany. However, between Baden, Germany and the region of Alsace is the Rhine River. Now, to the west of Alsace are mountains known as the Vosges Mountains. Now, the Vosges Mountains create almost this microclimate within the region of Alsace by creating a rain shadow. Now, a rain shadow actually contributes to why Alsace has the lowest rainfall in all of France, which making it a perfect climate for the grapes that are grown there. Now, what exactly is a rain shadow? Well, a rain shadow, if you think of the plains to the west of the Vosges Mountains, where they're getting all the storms and all the clouds and all the climate change, as those storms raise through the Vosges Mountains and get above the Vosges Mountains, they're so high in elevation, they essentially evaporate. Then as they evaporate, nothing but sunshine just east of the Vosges Mountains until they collect more condensation, which essentially is why this Alsace region is known as a rain shadow. It has a continental climate and almost sees 1,800 hours of sunshine in an entire year. Now, because of all that sunshine, they do experience the season change throughout the year, where in the spring they'll have mild spring with a threat of frost. The vines tend to grow in order to mitigate that risk of frost, so they have little worry there. In the summer, it's very hot, it's very dry, as we discussed about the rain shadow, and it is quite sunny. In the fall, it does get a little humid, which contributes to the risk of noble rot, or the effects of botrytis. But as we'll discuss in a few slides down the road, a lot of vineyards are looking for that and need that, want that. In the winter, it is cold. It is so far north in the country of France that they truly experience a good, true dormancy. The history of Alsace is interesting to say the least, especially how many times it's changed hands over the course of its lifetime. In 1787, during the French Revolution, that's when it began this true tug-of-war with Germany. In 1871, it was claimed by Germany at the end of the Franco-Prussian War. However, shortly after that, phylloxera ravaged through the whole vineyards of Alsace. And for those of you that don't know what phylloxera is, basically an insect destroyed many of the vineyards in France. Now, what they did discover is that if you blended American rootstock with French rootstock, it seemed that the American rootstock was impervious to this insect. So a lot of French wineries started doing this, and it created some of the stock that we have today. However, in 1918, at the end of the Great War, when France claimed ownership of Alsace once again, they had ordered all hybrids to be ripped out. However, due to finances and because of people were hurting for money right after the war, a lot of wineries did not rip out their hybrid rootstocks. In 1939, Germany occupied France, taking control of the region of Alsace once again. However, at the end of World War II in 1945, the region of Alsace was once again returned to France. In 1949, France, for once and for all, ordered the uprooting of all hybrids that were created during phylloxera, and if they didn't, if vineyards did not comply, they would lose their AOC status. Now, an interesting note, as I was studying for my French wine scholar certification, I began writing to many wineries in different regions just to learn about their winemaking process and learn about their wines and learn about them. And actually, Jean-Frédéric Hugel of Hugel Winery, a family-owned winery for decades, if not centuries, states that he and his family have never forgotten the sacrifice of the youngsters of the 36th Infantry Regiment of Texas, who freed their town on December 5th, 1944. He attached the picture, as you can see in this PowerPoint, that was taken by his great-grandfather the day from the front of his winery on the sole color film he had that seemed to last him the entire war. Wonderful. But because of this tug of war between France and Germany, not only were different languages spoken, but the bottles even started appearing differently, and how they made wine was a little differently, how they labeled wine was a little differently. So you have this amalgamation of both countries. You have a mix of French and German nomenclature as well as grapes. You tend to see these flute-style bottles where they have this long neck, and unlike other regions in France, you usually can identify the variety or the name of the grape that's on the bottle. And per German tradition, most bottles are 100% varietal. So if the bottle says Riesling, it's 100% Riesling. Now, there are many different varietals in the region of Alsace. Now, 9 out of 10 of most grapes grown there are white grapes. The lone red grape, Pinot Noir. So the other varieties right now, Pinot Blanc, or known as Klevner in the Alsace region, Pinot Noir, as I had mentioned, the one lone red grape variety, Sylvaner, Chardonnay, which is mainly used in the sparkling or Cremant d'Alsace, Chasselas, Auxerrois Blanc, Sauvignon Rose, Klevner de Hagenstein. The noble varieties or higher quality varieties are Riesling, Muscat, Pinot Gris, and Gewürztraminer. Now, like I said, there are exceptions to this 100% varietal rule, and these are the blends. Now, there are multiple different types of blends in the Alsace region. Gentile, which must be 50% of noble grapes, and we discussed what those were. Eiselwecker, which can be seen, I have a bottle of Eiselwecker right here, which is any white grape approved for AOC, so any of the lists from the previous slide. Pinot Blanc can be 100% Pinot Blanc, could be varietal, or Auxerrois Blanc, or a blend of both. Pinot d'Alsace is literally any grape with the name Pinot in it, and it could be blended together. The wine styles, again, 90% of the production is white. 9 out of 10 grape varietals grown there are white. Cremant d'Alsace, made in the traditional method, 9 months sur lie or on its lees. Rosé is typically made from Pinot Noir. Gewürztraminer is absolutely forbidden in the Cremants, and Chardonnay is usually used here blended, akin to the Champagne region, not too far from Alsace. Vendange Tardive is another type of wine that you may see on labeling. This is basically a late harvest, and it may or may not be affected by noble rot. Now, noble rot is a fungus known as botrytis, where it basically dehydrates the grape and concentrates all those juices and all those sugars, making it super, super sweet. So it doesn't have to be, but it may be. Vendange Tardive is akin to Auslese in Germany. So when you look for the Alsace in the country of Germany, you may look for the sweetened label called Auslese. That's akin to the Vendange Tardive. Now, Sélection d'un Grand Noble is a late harvest, but it must be affected by noble rot or botrytis. This is akin to Biren Auslese, so a little sweeter than the Auslese you may find in Germany. So again, Vendange Tardive may or may not be affected by noble rot. Sélection d'un Grand Noble must be affected by noble rot. Now, the most, by far and away, common variety in the Alsace region, that especially we know here in the States, is Riesling. Riesling. It's a beautifully aromatic wine. It is bone dry. In the States, you may get a lot of sweet Rieslings. In Alsace, it is dry. Now, they are getting a little sweeter, but for the most part, if you want to taste an amazing Riesling, but dry because you don't like sweet wines, try a Riesling from Alsace. You'll get a green apple note, lemon, lime, maybe a little basil, a little green there. At the time of making this video, there are 53 total AOCs in the region of Alsace. Cremante Alsace got its AOC status in 1976, which if you've never tried the sparkling Cremante Alsace, I urge you to go find a bottle and try it. In my opinion, it rivals the sparklings across the world, and the price point, you can't beat it. There are 13 communal designations, which usually mean a heightened character. The producer can add the name of a commune to the label, so you may see that. Lidi is the name given to a plot or vineyard because of its notable characteristics, because of its terroir. So if there's something notable, then you will see it labeled as that. The Grand Crus of Alsace, there are a number of them, and again, they will typically state Grand Cru on its label. In the region of Alsace, unlike some other regions in France, vineyards are ranked Grand Cru, not the producer. So it's not how you make the wine, it's where the grapes came from. It only accounts for approximately 4% of all of Alsace, and it's white wine only, typically Riesling, Muscat, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris. Sylvaner is a Grand Cru status, but only in Zotzenberg. Now, like everything in life, there's exceptions to all rules. Altenburg de Bergheim is at least 50% Riesling, max is 70%, and Kieferkopf, if blended, is 60 to 80% Gewürztraminer. Now, there is an organic movement, just like the Paris Accord has created amongst all of France and other vineyards across the world. This organic movement is using natural fertilizers rather than chemicals. And here's the recipe for what they use. Basically, 50% of cow manure is what they utilize for their organic fertilizer. So what is distinctive about Alsace? What are you going to know for any test, or what do you need to know when you're going to get wine? Is truly know the Vosges Mountains, know the rain shadow, know how that operates and how the rain essentially evaporates up in the mountains or leaves the snow in the mountains as it crosses over into the vineyards of Alsace, creating 1,800 hours of sunshine a year. Know that it's primarily white wine. 90% of all wine made in Alsace is white, and mostly from the 4 noble grape varieties. Know that the bottles and labels, the bottles are the flute bottles, the long, skinny, long neck, basically obtained from Germany. And notice that the labels actually have the grape variety on the label, which you're not going to see in much of France, but you will see in this region. So again, tips for the test. Make sure you know the rain or the lack thereof it, probably the least amount of rain in all of France. Know the German influence, basically from the bottle to the labeling to the nomenclature. Know the 4 noble grape varieties. Know the names of the blend, the Eiselwecker, the Gentile, the Cremante Alsace. Know the Grand Cru exceptions, and know Vendange Tardive may or may not be from Noble Rot, and the Sélection d'un Grand Noble must be from Noble Rot. So what to look for if you're building a wine cellar. Literally, you could find bottles upon bottles for approximately $20 to $30 anywhere. Get a Riesling. The dry Rieslings of Alsace cannot be rivaled anywhere in this world. Get some Pinot Noir. Try the Pinot Noirs of Alsace. You know what? You may think you like Pinot Noir, but you haven't tried all of the Pinot Noir until you've tried that from Alsace. It's completely different than what you'd expect. And please, I urge you to find a Cremante Alsace. Those of you that like sparklings from one country versus the other country, for $20 a bottle, you can't beat it. Cremante Alsace, made from the traditional method, aged akin to some of the wines in Champagne. Give it a go. So what should you have in your wine cellar? I urge you to get a Riesling. It doesn't have to be a Grand Cru. It could be any old type of Riesling, a Hugel, a Trimbach, any type of Riesling you could find. The dryness of it is perfect for your wine cellar and perfect to open on occasions and will not break the bank. If you don't have any Cremante Alsace, again, I've said it a number of times over this PowerPoint, get some, at least half a case. Because for $18 to $22 a bottle, you cannot go wrong. It is a perfect wine to take to parties, to take to a dinner party with friends or family. And it's probably something that they haven't tried, and I urge you to give it a go because it rivals sparklings across the world. Get a Gentile. It's awesome to see how they blend those grape varieties in that region. And try a Gewürztraminer. If you haven't tried Gewürztraminer, get a bottle. It is perfect for the spicy dishes because of the spicy nature in itself. So whether you're serving an Asian dish, Indian dish, and have a little spice to it, it's perfect blended with that. So for that, I thank you for joining us today, and stay tuned for another episode of Wine Education with the Wine Doctor, myself, Dr. Jesse McLean, Doctor of Nursing Practice and French Wine Scholar. Have a great day.